Hello everyone, welcome to Anime No Me, and thank you for joining us for another One Piece video. Throughout his adventure as a pirate in search of becoming the greatest swordsman in the world, Zoro has acquired several powerful swords to help him during battle in pursuit of his dream. But as we head into this final arc of One Piece, there are still several other powerful swords that Zoro could obtain before achieving his dream of becoming the greatest swordsman in the world. After all, he currently has the sword Enma and the Wado Ichimonji, which are his two strongest. So it's possible that he might be able to acquire a new sword in the future, a Kitetsu sword for example, which could be the most powerful of all the Kitetsus that the blacksmith who bears the same name could have made. So in today's video, we're going to talk about the possibility of Zoro getting the most powerful sword that the blacksmith Kitetsu forged in his entire life, acquiring the incredibly valuable and legendary sword, the Shodai Kitetsu, which is one of the 12 most powerful swords in the entire world of One Piece. But before we dive into the video, if you're new to the channel or even if you've watched a bunch of our videos, we'd be absolutely honored if you'd leave us a like and even subscribe and maybe leave us a comment letting us know what you thought of the video. It really helps us out, especially with that old YouTube algorithm, and it continues to motivate us to make more content. If you'd like to help out the channel in a bigger way, consider sharing this video or another one of your favorites with a friend. But without further ado, let's get into the video. So my friends, the blacksmith Kitetsu is extremely skilled and has forged some of the most powerful swords in the world of One Piece. Swords that are recognized worldwide, in addition to the fact that he also has made an extremely powerful sword that is currently lost in the vast world. For some mysterious reason, each of its blades has been labeled cursed because of its natural ability to somehow take the life of its wielders. And apparently these swords have a certain awareness of who is worthy to carry them or not, allowing certain swordsmen to be able to possess them without them losing their lives to the blade. When Zoro first encountered the Sandai Kitetsu, even though he heard that it was cursed, he decided to put it to a test and see if the sword would dare to cut it. So he throws it in the air and then puts out his arm in the direction where the sword would fall. And miraculously, mysteriously, almost as if guided by fate, the Sandai Kitetsu rolls around Zoro's arm without ever laying a cut on him, proving that Zoro may be one of the people that is worthy of carrying a Kitetsu without coming to any harm. Because the Kitetsu swords come with this kind of curse, it was said that no one would ever be willing to use a Kitetsu sword in these recent times. Some people even became paranoid that if someone had sold a Kitetsu sword, the curse would take the life of the new wielder, and then the sword would go back to the seller. However, it does seem that a person's luck can overcome the blade's curse, a feat considered extremely rare, but as demonstrated by Zoro, his luck overcame the blade's curse, and the shopkeeper was so impressed that he just gave Zoro the family heirloom for free. An interesting situation described by the lore of bladesmithing in One Piece is that it seems that each of the swords that is crafted by different generations of blacksmiths, with each generation, the swords become weaker than their predecessors, which indicates that the first Kitetsu created was the most powerful sword ever created in the entire line. Now, it is confirmed that the very first Kitetsu sword is the Shodai Kitetsu and is considered a supreme grade sword, one of the 12 most powerful blades in the world of One Piece. This is a sword that could be compared to Yoru that currently belongs to Mihawk, the Mura Kumogiri that belonged to Whitebeard that is currently in his tomb, and even the Ace sword that once belonged to Roger, but yet nobody knows where the sword is. The Shodai Kitetsu must be an impressive sword with immense cutting power, even being able to allow its bearer to defeat extremely powerful enemies. But because it's a cursed sword, few can seem to own it or even use it in battle. The second sword of the set is known as the Nidai Kitetsu, which is one of the 21 great grade swords, and was created by the blacksmith Kotetsu. Finally, the third in the set is the Sandai Kitetsu, which is again another one of the 21 great grade blades, but this one was created by the blacksmith Kozuki Sukiyaki. Considering how much the Straw Hats still have yet to journey in the world, it's possible that at some point the Straw Hats could acquire the Shodai Kitetsu during one of their adventures, managing to find it on some island and taking possession of it to use during battle. And this is quite fitting because it seems like Zoro apparently loves Kitetsu swords, or at least has a certain attraction to cursed swords. Zoro previously owned a Kitetsu sword during the Wano arc, and he even tried to take the Nidai Kitetsu for himself. Unfortunately, Luffy took this sword and then ended up throwing it away, which makes it impossible for Zoro to get his hands on that Kitetsu. However, this might have been something that Oda already had planned, preventing Zoro from possessing this sword because he already knows that he plans to give him a new sword, an even more powerful sword, and this being the Shodai Kitetsu. Now, to go a little further about the Shodai, it's one of the 12 supreme grade swords in the world, being created by some of the most skilled blacksmiths who had a deep knowledge of the art of sword making. Now, like all three Kitetsu swords, it's considered a cursed first blade. But because Zoro has already wielded another Kitetsu, it probably means he will be able to bend the Shodai's will to his own without really any problem. There's no danger for Zoro to carry it because he has an unshakable determination that's possibly one of the factors why the Kitetsu sword chose not to cut his arm. As this blade is one of the 12 supreme grade swords, it means that the Shodai Kitetsu is among the strongest and highest quality blades ever forged, being virtually impossible to break and possessing an extremely lethal cut. Considering what we've seen the other supreme grade swords in the story do, it's possible that this sword might be able to cut anything, and with the right wielder, it could become extremely powerful, making not only the sword, but also its wielder one of the most powerful characters in the One Piece world. Now, it's not exactly known where this sword is, since it's not appeared in anyone's hands for quite a long time. And as I said before, the Kitetsu swords are practically forbidden to be used because of this kind of alleged curse. So as it's been missing for so many years from humanity, there is that possibility that this sword could be on Elbaf, the island of the giants, because this place is completely dangerous and forbidden and impossible to enter unless you have contact with the giants that live on the island. Giants of Elbaf are considered the most powerful army in the world of One Piece, having highly trained and extremely strong warriors capable of destroying anything and everything around them. I mean, not even Yonko dare to go against these mighty warrior giants. And there are many secrets and mysteries that run through Elbaf, and the Shodai Kitetsu sword could be one of the hidden secrets on this island. As we saw after the Wano arc, Elbaf isn't terribly far from the country of Wano, and the island may have had many visits from Wano swordsmen who went to Elbaf in search of something or searching of a challenge. So during one of these visits, the Shodai Kitetsu sword may have fallen into the possession of the giants on Elbaf, making the sword extremely rare to find, as Elbaf is not an easy island to enter. But with the impending arrival of the Straw Hats, and more especially Zoro on Elbaf, there's the possibility that he could end up finding the Shodai Kitetsu somewhere on the island, being in a completely lost place or even in the possession of a giant that keeps it guarded. As I just said, it's inevitable that at some point, most likely after Egghead Island, the Straw Hats are gonna go to Elbaf. We know this island has a lot of information that they need to find out, especially from the fact that Saul is on Elbaf and still alive. And it's this connection with Jaguar D. Saul that will allow the Straw Hats to enter the island freely, without any giant being able to present any danger to them, because they're friends with one of their own. And also, we know that Dory and Bragi are also on the island of Elbaf, accompanying Shanks in the great confrontation that's just about to go down with Eustace Kid. So like I said, once we reach the end of the Egghead Island arc, and the Straw Hats are able to get off the island and help Vegapunk escape, it's likely that this is the next destination. They're gonna go to Elbaf, they're gonna go find out what O'Hara knew, and they're gonna go talk to Saul. After all, he is the one who's been guarding this forbidden knowledge that all of the scholars of O'Hara were able to gather, and he was able to save from being destroyed by the Buster Call that the Marines sent to the island so many years ago. Each of these books is going to have extremely valuable information, not only about the poneglyphs and revealing the name of the ancient kingdom that was destroyed during the Void Century, but also to Robin, and this being a beautiful full circle closure for her because she had to leave her home in such tragic circumstances, and with this connection back to those deep scholars, she's gonna be able to have a bit more closure about what all happened on that very awful day. But getting back to our favorite mossy-haired swordsman, since we know that the Straw Hats are gonna end up on Elbaf, it's likely that Zoro could end up coming across the Shodai Kitetsu. And once he does that and gets a hold and full control of his Conqueror's Haki, he will have 3 extremely powerful swords with immense and maybe immeasurable cutting potential. And this might be the very thing that's gonna allow Zoro to reach the same level, if not surpass Mihawk, allowing him to face the greatest swordsman in the world in a duel sometime in the future, and finally achieve the defeat with these 3 extremely powerful swords to earn him the title and dream of becoming the greatest swordsman in the world. But with all that said, my friends, we'd now love to know what you think about it. Do you think Zoro might get that final sword, the Shodai Kitetsu, when they get to Elbaf? And do you think it's something he'll have to fight for, or perhaps is it a treasure that's been sitting there waiting for him? Next, how do you think the duel between him and Mihawk will finally go? Do you think this is something that'll happen before that big final battle that we've been promised by Oda? Or might it happen before, where they get to settle things out and maybe turn Mihawk into an ally before the big battle with whatever the big bad is awaiting for us? Let us know what you think in the comments below. So as we wrap up our video today, we'd like to thank all of you so much for watching, especially those of you who've made it here to the very end. Be sure you comment on any themes or ideas that you'd like to see see in future videos. And also, since you made it this far, make sure you give us a like and hit that red subscribe button before you head out to take on the rest of your day. Hope to see you all in our next video. Let's keep sailing this giant sea together. Take care.